this time, I would like to introduce to all of you our third and final speaker for this afternoon. His name is Reverend Marvin Harada, and he is the Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America, Jodo Shinshu Hongwanji-ha. Prior to his assignment as bishop, he was also the head minister of the Orange County Buddhist Church for, I believe, over 32 years, if I'm correct. And he also serves as the superintendent of the North America District and is on the board of directors for the Jodo Shinshu International Office, which is an educational and outreach organization that supports nembutsu practitioners around the world. And I understand that Reverend Marvin has a PowerPoint presentation, so I did enable you as a co-host, so I wanted to make sure that you were able to share your screen as well. So I will now turn the stage over to Reverend Harada Sensei. Perfect. Yep, we can all see your screen. Perfect.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Koichi, for your kind introduction. It's truly an honor to be a part of this event today. I'd like to also thank the Bay Area Buddhist Association for inviting me to speak with such a distinguished panel of other speakers, Reverend Ito, whom I've known for many, many years, and Reverend Godwin from the Soto Zen tradition. Wonderful to be a part of the program with the two of you today, and thank you for your really wonderful talk just prior to mine. I'd just like to share some of my own thoughts on this topic, and I'll go through a brief PowerPoint. First of all, I think it's a very noble undertaking of the United Nations to work globally on these 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And to be very honest, I was very ignorant of all of this prior to being asked to speak on this subject. And so while these 17 Sustainable Development Goals relate to all of us as human beings, as we live on this planet, what is it as Buddhists that we can do, or what do we do as Buddhists? I'd like to ponder. So what do we do as Buddhists? Well, we do the Dharma. The Dharma is our focus as Buddhists. So we listen to the Dharma, we study the Dharma, we reflect on the Dharma, we practice the Dharma, and as ministers and as priests, we are all sharing the Dharma. And the Dharma, as we all know, is what liberates us from this world of samsara, the world of delusion. The Dharma liberates us from living a life totally of the ego self, and then to truly see our interdependent oneness with all of life. So that's what we do as Buddhists. That is our core, and that's what we offer the world. And it's something that nobody else is doing. No political body, no other philanthropic group, no other religion is offering to the world what we Buddhists are doing, focusing on and sharing the Dharma. So we really can't forget that our true core, our true focus. And so I think it's important that we not lose our unique identity, our focus, our core, as we address these sustainable development goals. So by focusing and grounding ourselves in the Dharma first, a Buddhist then moves into the world for the sake of all sentient beings. But we start with the Dharma, then we move out into the world. Recently, I heard a wonderful lecture by Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyaji. He's in our tradition. He serves at a Bay Area temple, the South Alameda Temple. And he gave this lecture, and he noted that, when you get on an airplane, they always say, if there's an emergency, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help your children or someone else. And so, that point is very important for us as Buddhists as well. So we focus on the Dharma first. But how else can we help others if we ourselves are still sunk in delusion in the world of samsara, in the world of the ego self? Then we only create more problems in the world by trying to help others if we ourselves are still sort of sunk in that world of delusion. So we, in a sense, have to start with the Dharma. I read in a book by Pema Choldron a wonderful episode that she shared that also teaches us how we should be grounded in the Dharma first before working for various causes. And she wrote about when she was watching on TV, on the news. This was during the Vietnam War, and there was a peace protest going on about the Vietnam War. And you had these two sides in opposition, the pro-war side and the anti-war side, and they were getting closer and closer, and then it was turning into sort of a violent protest. And she saw on the news a peace protester had a peace sign, and they were pounding someone with their peace sign. And she thought, what is wrong with that picture? See, what is wrong with that picture? So, of course, if we want to make the world peaceful, then we have to be a peaceful person. You cannot pound peace into someone. I remember reading about Socrates, and he was having a dialogue with a young student, and this young student was reading a book, and Socrates asked him, well, what are you studying? Oh, I'm studying government. Oh, well, what is government? Socrates asked. Well, the student said, well, government is how to govern and control other people. And then Socrates asked the student, can you control yourself? Can you govern yourself? No, I can't do that very well. Well, don't you think you should start from yourself first before you study about how to govern others? So here too, Socrates had the starting with oneself as the most important point. I'd like to just share a few examples of Buddhists who have lived working on some of these sustainable goals at a time before it was even brought up by the United Nations in their own unique way. The famous Zen monk, Ryokan, I think he was a real Buddhist ecologist before we even had the term ecology. And there's this episode about Ryokan and the bamboo plant growing under his hut. So Ryokan lived in a simple little hut, and he noticed a bamboo plant growing underneath the hut, and it was just sprouting up, and then it was growing tall enough to where it was hitting the floor of his hut. So what does Ryokan do? He cuts a hole in the floor of his bamboo hut so that the bamboo plant can grow. So the bamboo plant grows and grows and grows. Now it hits the ceiling, it hits the roof of his hut. So what does Ryokan do? He cuts a hole in the roof of the hut so that the bamboo plant can continue to grow through the roof. But in cutting this hole in the roof, now the rain comes in, the cold comes in. But for Ryokan, he thinks of the plant. He thinks of the bamboo plant. Oh, it's amazing. I could never do something like that. Ryokan, in Japan, there's lots of mosquitoes. And in the summertime, people, especially in the old days, they slept with a mosquito net. Now, Ryokan would sleep with his one leg out of the mosquito net to feed the mosquitoes. So he is one with all, truly one with all beings in an ecological sense, and sacrifices his own leg in terms of feeding the mosquitoes while he sleeps. And there's another episode of when he would go begging, he would receive food from villagers, and then sometimes the food would spoil, and then maggots would grow in his begging bowl. And during the wintertime, Ryokan would keep the maggots warm under his futon. This is a true ecologist, a person who is one with all beings. In Shin Buddhism, we have an episode of a devout Shin follower by the name of Genza. And he lived in this very ecological sense as well. He was a farmer, and he had an ox, and the ox's name was Den. Well, Genza made a room for the ox in his house. So, of course, it's a farmhouse, but still, he makes this room for his ox. So his ox is just not some inferior being. His ox is like one of the family. You know, imagine if I'm showing people my house, oh, this is the master bedroom, this is my son's bedroom, my daughter's bedroom, and this is our ox's bedroom. This is how Genza lived, one with all beings. So what can we actually do in regards to these lofty 17 goals, getting back to the SDGs? I'd just like to point out a couple. Number 3, good health and well-being. And as Buddhists, one thing that we can do in that area is to help work on drug and alcohol addiction. And the church that I serve, OCBC, and the Vista Temple, each started a support group for people with drug and alcohol addiction problems. And I think that Buddhism goes very well with helping people with addiction issues. The contemporary Buddhist teacher Noah Levine has also done a lot of work in that area. Gender equality. We have many more women that are pursuing the ministry now. Within our religious organization, temple leadership is as easily 50% women, if not higher. The LGBTQ community is being welcomed at our temples, and in some cases, new affiliate organizations are being formed at our temples. So my point is, by focusing first, being grounded in the Dharma, then we Buddhists, as individuals or as groups of Buddhists, may choose to work on any of these 17 sustainable development goals that we choose to in our own sort of unique manner. And we can go about it in a big way or in our own small way. But to me, the important point is we start first being grounded in the Dharma. Sharing the Dharma is the most important thing that we can do as Buddhists. And then, based on our understanding of the Dharma, now we go out into the world and help all sentient beings. Namanda, samanda, samanda. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much to Reverend Marvin Harada, Bishop of the BCA, Buddhist Churches of America. I'd like to thank all of our wonderful panel speakers this afternoon. Each and every one of you gave I think it's such a wonderful thing to be able to share a little bit different perspective